In winter, Beaver Creek's population hovers around 80 people. Everyone here waits for the tourist season to start, usually around mid-May. For now, the talk around town is on the upcoming federal election. Buckshot Betty's is one of only 2 hospitality businesses that remains open year-round. Owner Carmen Hinson, better known as Buckshot Betty, says Donald Trump's threats to make Canada the 51st state doesn't sit well with folks in this border town.
No, I don't want to really become the 51st state. I think Canadians are pretty solid people, and they're, we're not really pushed around too much, but when we reached our limit, we stand pretty proud, and,
I don't know how the tariffs are going to affect that, right? I'm sure they have already, and maybe even more.
Kelly Backstrom is a member of the White River First Nation. Beaver Creek sits within their traditional territory, but much of their living needs comes from Alaska because Whitehorse is 5 hours away. Affordability in this election is top of mind among members of her First Nation.
Some people go to Tok, which is about an hour and a half drive, to do grocery shopping. With the money exchange, it's a lot. So it's often just mostly for drives to get a few things. But even with that, the exchange, and then these thoughts of tariffs, how is that going to affect the ability to go?
The Canada-U.S. border is 32 kilometers north of Beaver Creek. Members of the White River First Nation have relatives who call Alaska their home. The borderline between the two countries is clearly slashed along the landscape, yet the line is often blurred when it comes to dealing with Americans, at least from Buckshot Betty's point of view.
Canada's beautiful. We love Americans. We do our, we've always been a good, we go to Alaska, we go to the U.S. and stuff like that. So I think it's going to be good.
Traditionally, the area around Beaver Creek was home to the Upper Tanana people who camped there on their seasonal migrations. In the early 1900s, the settlement of Beaver Creek was established as a camp for the team surveying the Canada-Alaska border. Later, mining interest developed in the area, and in the 1940s, the Alaska Highway was constructed. In the mid-1950s, a Canada Customs post was built, and the community of Beaver Creek began to develop. Last year, almost 58,000 Americans went through the customs station into Canada. Relations between the two countries were relatively good. Now, with President Donald Trump in power, things have changed, and it's not known how Beaver Creek's tourism season will fare this summer. And that's something people here want to learn more about for this election.
I haven't heard a lot of the politicians talk about how the tariffs are affecting the Yukon. Like, you hear the words, but how is it going to affect us? Like, that's kind of a question I have.
Why can't we sit there and make a deal with Alaska? Alaska's kind of independent state in a sense, so we should be able to talk with them, instead of having that border.
Within a few miles, there's a different set of pricing for items that you cannot live without in the Canadian North. It affects the community's bottom line, especially the independent businesses that rely on highway traffic.
I think the price of fuel is one thing. That's one thing that kind of, it's very high here, and it's, and it's funny, if you go across the border, it's not that high, but it's so high here. So that's one thing. And then the price of, I guess, groceries.
Life in a small border town may be quiet in the winter, but it's plenty of time for locals to wonder how Canada's federal election will affect them. No matter who wins on April 28th, Buckshot Betty knows what she's going to do.
It's what you make of it. You can't change what's going on. It's going to happen. So you just got to kind of work with it.
Gordon Loverin, CBC News, Beaver Creek, Yukon.